You know, you would like to think that this entire saga was over with Maturino and Arturo. I mean, given the fact that Maturino came forward and clarified all the statements that were made and made sure that it was indicated that there was no evidence whatsoever of stealing. The only thing that they were investigating and pursuing was about late payments, which they now recognize that they've been made whole. They came forward with all of these statements that he had been paid within 40 minutes of when they made their public statement. I showed evidence of the fact that they obviously had sent their original legal demand to the wrong email. So there was just all of these things should have really fixed this situation. That should have given everyone else enough to be able to say, since the people most intimately connected to the situation are now coming forward with clarification, saying that Arturo was not guilty of some of the nonsense that he had been accused of. That should have given everyone else the license to be able to say, hey, you know, we probably jumped the gun and we've done too much and we need to stop. You know, like let's go ahead and start working on this redemption hero arc, right? That's what a reasonable person would do. But if you remember, Bum said,
even if he gets clear somehow, I will not believe that shit.
You know, listen, one thing that he's not going to do is he's not going to admit he's wrong. And he's just beyond stubborn, because yet again, after all of these things, when everything has been clarified and everyone is being forgiving and all of those things, he doubled down again and still is trying to say that he was stealing.
There's no innocent when you don't listen. When you don't tell the person or the people that the money's going to you, right? If let's say I put the money in the Maturino, right? I put the money in my Maturino, and I don't tell you. Am I taking the money? Yes or no? The answer's already clear as day, man. That's stealing.
Now they're saying late payment and stealing is the same. You see, if someone was to have your money and not give it back to you on time, they stole it. You ever been late on a payment? You ever been late on a credit card payment, or late on rent, or late on anything? That's stealing, according to these folks. And of course, Bum is not the only person to double down. Hotashi won't apologize either. Originally, when there was a situation where Hotashi had said that Arturo was lying, and I approached him saying, hey, can I DM you? I would like to show you the receipts. This is before I made my videos. And I wanted to show him the evidence to try to see if maybe he could be reasoned with to like kind of take that statement down. And of course, he refused. The exchange was pretty silly, and I realized that he wasn't worth me actually investing any actual energy into. He banned me from his stream, called me a right-winger, despite the fact that I'm extremely progressive. He still won't apologize. I asked him about it. You know, I never forget, neither does the internet. So I was like, hey, Hotashi, you want to walk that back? Of course, he doubles down even further. Another person who's never apologized and has never backed down is D-Nice. D-Nice, to this day, is still a tournament organizer at next level. This is where we got to start holding people accountable. Henry Sen is a person who has been there for the New York scene and for the community for a very long time. There's been a relationship between the FGC and him and that entire region. He is absolutely necessary and essential for that region. But as such, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have a lot of connections with Henry, personal interactions. People can play on those things to go talk to this man and explain to him the atrocity that D-Nice did so that he doesn't get to continue to work in that position. Because when you have demonstrated that amount of recklessness and that amount of harm for some of the more important people in the community in the name of Arturo, that's not a position that anyone should trust you with. You see, when things are forgiven, typically it's when someone apologizes, when you recognize that they no longer have the issues that they originally did. D-Nice has done no such thing, so he has no business still working there. There have been a lot of gains though. Originally, when Maturino had made their statement, a bunch of tournaments had came out and banned Arturo. The ones that banned him were the Online Local, Battle for the Bruce Lee, Butler's Revenge, ECT, and Casa. So those 5 tournaments banned Arturo. It seemed a little bit ridiculous considering it was like a day after the initial claims had been made. Arturo wasn't even given an opportunity to express his side of the story. It was kind of gross. 2 of those 5 have already unbanned Arturo. The first of the people to unban him was Casa. And in that situation, they made a twit longer, and they did point out something that I think was a valid point. They said that, one, that they did ban him inappropriately and that it was a little hasty, I believe. And then the other thing that they stated was that specifically that it's on the tournament organizers to make sure that they're running their own events. So that way they're not dependent on Arturo, especially considering he wasn't being paid for this work. and he was doing this work for free, and he was clearly overloaded. Now, obviously, it could be on Arturo to say, hey, I can't do this, or I can't help. But when you're just used to just being that person, it's like, I will stretch myself thin, just trying to help other people. And that's something that Arturo did. The other person to unban him was ECT. And it was a doozy, because all of the comments regarding ECT have been really, really, really punishing to them. I mean, it's cool, you know, they made a twit longer and they kind of explained everything that happened. And within that twit longer is an apology of them saying, hey, we acted too hastily. But it's like really one line amongst a whole bunch of other stuff. The most common theme in the responses to that twit longer are, so you didn't need to ban him in the first place. You threw away 25 years of friendship, etc. I don't think they focused enough on the fact that they acted too quickly without reason. And here's another problem with that response. In it, they're still saying, well, what we're going to do is we're going to ban him from working for us, but we're going to go ahead and rescind his ban as far as, you know, competing and things like that. This is where there's a problem. Maturino made a mistake in the first place by publicly firing Arturo with something that should have been handled behind closed doors so that we didn't lead to all this speculation. You don't have to fire someone publicly. That didn't need to happen. Secondly, when you ban someone from something, then it needs to be directly related to the thing that they were doing. Now, if you decide that you don't want to work with Arturo anymore, you simply just decide not to hire him anymore. Could you imagine if another employer just decides, I don't want to work with you because I don't like your work ethic or whatever the freak my reasoning is, but they decided, I'm going to take out a newspaper ad to let everyone know for the foreseeable future, I won't be working with you anymore. They don't need to do that. They just don't hire you. You have direct control over who works in your organization, and you can just choose not to do that. So you didn't learn the lesson. If you failed originally by banning unnecessarily and publicly releasing statements, then that was a lesson that you should have learned in this situation. You clearly didn't learn in this situation when you go, by the way, he's still banned from working for us. What? Just don't hire him. Why are you still trying to cling on to, well, some bans were appropriate? No, you didn't learn the lesson. And that's why everybody's coming at you. There needs to be an unequivocal apology. And you put the apology in a twit longer and not an apology in an independent tweet. So what ECT needs to do now is they need to make another tweet specifically apologizing to Arturo, not attaching it to their other criticisms and owning up to their own mistake. That needs to happen so that people can stop sending them all the hate that they're getting. Y'all got to see this thread. Matter of fact, yeah, y'all got to see this thread. When you're handling things inappropriately, this is the reaction that you get. One of the people that really, it shouldn't be a surprise because everyone has always seen this person for the joke that he is, but Bozo Gozo went ham just at the idea that I was the one defending Art. And he started disrespecting me. Now, mind you, I haven't spoken to that dude in well over 8 years. Well over 8 years. Over all of the time, I've probably only had 4 or 5 interactions with him over my entire time within the FGC. The reason why Bozo Gozo doesn't like me is because I did a show called Ask Fanatiq. That's why this channel is named Ask Fanatiq, in which Shogo got a whole bunch of questions from the SRK forums regarding fighting games and fielded them for me, and then he just set up a camera and I would answer these questions. It was a questions and answers show. Bozo Gozo felt like I stole that idea from him because he also had a questions and answers show, which I had never heard of, which was getting all of 300 viewers. You don't own questions and answers. But because of that, he's had a grudge against me. And so he was one of the people who had been really going hard trying to undermine me to make sure that I didn't defend Art. And it'd be one thing if he remained impartial. It'd be one thing if he was like, hey, I don't like Fanatiq, but the evidence is true. It'd be one thing if he was just like, I'm not sure. And in his initial tweet, he said, I don't know if he did it or not, but it didn't stop him from immediately unfollowing Arturo. So you decide, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't like Fanatiq. I'm gonna unfollow Arturo as some sort of punishment for something that you're not even sure that he actually did. Bozo. So there's still 3 people that need to unban Arturo. Battle for the Bruce Lee, Butler's Revenge, the online local. I think for all 3 of those tournaments, I think people should stop entering them until they actually apologize unequivocally. I think it's absolutely absurd that people keep reacting this way. If we're going to learn the lesson, there needs to be ramifications. This is where collective bargaining comes in. As a community, the collective can demand of the people who did wrong to rectify it or to face ramifications. That's what needs to happen with D-Nice at next level. That's what needs to happen to Bum. That's what needs to happen to all of these tournaments. And it seems like it's already happening to ECT. I'm looking forward to seeing how the community reacts. I do appreciate all the love that I've gotten from people. A lot of it was in DMs. A lot of it was said publicly. Just people recognizing, again, this was not my job. Going on Chris's podcast and being able to explain things a little bit more fully, I think was also very helpful. I think the more people that get this information, then the better. The more we have a chance of people actually learning from their mistakes and improving. I appreciate all the people who left comments in my videos. I've literally read them all. I've tried to reply to quite a few of them. It just got overwhelming at one point, but I appreciate you guys. And hopefully, everyone else will unban him soon. I did say that the tournament organizers would start unbanning him. So far, we have 2 of 5. We're waiting on the remaining 3. Some of them are tournaments that I don't think he would even really enter. Some of them are just people who are virtue signaling by saying, hey, I'm banning him because it made them feel good because they got to say, hey, we're with the good guys, right? These are tournaments that he never intended to enter, never worked with some of them. It's just ridiculous. We gotta stop this culture. You're not a winner because you decide to publicly proclaim that you ban a person who's just being under fire right now. That doesn't make you good. It just means that you're just one with the mob.